3 is the future.
Welcome, crew, to What Are Your Three, a Channel 3 podcast, where we take a member of the Channel 3 community, discuss 3 games of their choosing, go through some honorable mentions and some other odds and ends for a nice little video game discussion. I'm Dan Tucker. With me, as always, Ray.
What's going on, everybody? Today's guest is, of course, our number one Rocket League caster. How we've gone this many, 75. It took up to episode 75 to get this guy on the podcast. It is, of course, Coach Roo. Roo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How about you?
We are happy to finally have you on here to talk about games. It's been needed. Obviously, you are on every Wednesday night for us, and then you're on all the time with Rocket League, with sometimes Monster Hunter, whatever games come up. Obviously, with No Rest for the Wicked recently, and we're going to get into all those games. So we're starting at the top. Number one, Rocket League. Let me tell you, it's always, you never know if a Rocket League person is going to talk about Rocket League or not. And I've got 2 ways to start this conversation. You're going to tell me which way you want to go. I have option number 1 is !F epic. And then option 2 was, what's Rocket League meant to you? How do you want to start this conversation?
We can do the F epic if you want.
Let's hear it.
All right. So obviously I've been with Rocket League. The very first time I picked it up was when it was the PlayStation Plus free game of the month. I picked it up, thought it looked fun on the PS4. My buddies, we all picked it up, and it became Boop Snoop to us. Rocket League was Boop Snoop. Don't know why. It sounded funny at the time, and that's what we called it. It was our goof off game. We would play it in between League of Legends sessions. We were big into League of Legends, so we just stuck with it. Continue to play a little bit off and on. Every once in a while, I'll go back to it. You know, I've got the original season 1 crown, the bronze crown, because I didn't really play ranked, but I played enough to get something. I've got season runs for pretty much every single season. But in 2018, there's a reason I have a redeem called !Break. Right after my daughter was born, not even a month after my daughter was born, I suffered a really bad sports injury. I was playing in a co-ed softball game, and on the final inning, on the final out of a doubleheader, the first game, I had fielded a ball in center field like I'd done a million times because I played baseball all my life. Fielded a ball in center field, fired crow hop to throw home to get the final out, and suffered a spiral break, a perfect one. It sounded like a gunshot went off. I remember going on the ground. I remember kind of sitting there, like rolling around, not knowing what's going on. I remember moving my fingers, could feel them.
Just trying not to go into shock.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was sitting there, and I went to move my arm, and I could feel all my muscles trying to move, but my arm didn't go anywhere. It just didn't go anywhere. So okay, what did I tear? What happened? And so the people that I played with were mostly doctors and nurses. So they came in, they, got me. They realized definitely my arm, there was something, because I was literally holding it like this. I just walked. So they splinted it up, and I asked for some water, and I took a sip of it, and it was bitter. And I was like, okay, so I'm in shock. Makes sense. So they take me to the ER, and I remember calling my fiance and going, hey, I'm not sure how bad it is, but hopefully I'll be coming home in a few hours. But I messed something up in my arm. We're at the ER. I'm about to get an x-ray. We'll see how it goes. Doctor comes in to get the x-ray, kind of, removes the splint. He's got to fill it up my arm. He goes, all right, we're going to bring in the portable x-ray. They bring in the portable x-ray machine. Do the portable x-ray. Doctor walks by the x-ray, goes, that's not good. I was like, that's not good. Isn't I'm not going home. That's not going. He's like, oh no, you're definitely not going home. It's like, we need to x-ray lower. I'm like, what the did I do? And he was, he goes, do you want to see it? I was like, do I really want to? He goes, probably not. But he showed it to me, and it was a it snapped it in half. Like my right humerus is snapped in half. Like I can show you the scar.
No, I'm good.
Let me see it.
Ray's doing it. Let's go. Let's go.
See it. Let's see the scar right there.
Oh,
there you
no.
go.
It's
That's
the
right.
whole. It's the
That's
whole
right in
arm.
the middle.
So I have a full plate and 12 screws in my right arm that will never be taken out. There's a reason that when people redeem like push-ups in my chat, I always rub my arm and stuff after I'm done because I've never been able to truly get enough strength in that arm.
Mhm.
I'll never forget after the surgery, I had a full arm cast. By the way, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Rookie of the Year where he breaks his arm and he becomes a pitcher for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Can't confirm that don't work. I was very, very sad. Once the arm healed, I could not throw a fastball 100 miles per hour and go try out for the Atlanta Braves.
It was a
I'm not
bad. It
gonna
was
lie.
a bad cast job. They needed
I
to
was
do the
pretty
cast a
upset.
specific way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had it like this.
Oh, no.
My arm was just like this. I got gypped, man. I'm not gonna
Rowan
lie. I was
Gardner,
not
his
happy.
guy. His guy.
Yeah, I mean it's not. Yeah, I do need him. I guess I got to smack my doctor in the face first. Anyway, so they did the surgery 10 days in that. Then I remember going to PT, and I did that twice a week for 6 months. And the very first PT session I had, this is when I knew that I was in for the long haul because they had me lift a 1 pound weight, just a small 1 pound weight with my wrist like this and with my arm. I couldn't move it. I couldn't lift a 1 pound weight.
You just starting over from
I was literally starting over. Exactly. It took 2 months before I could do that. I could straighten my arm out. And just it was a thing. But
What did they? Was it just like a freak thing that just happened when you threw the ball?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen that Washington National. That happens a lot in pitchers because of the torque of the arm and how fast you throw it. But they said that I was the first case they'd seen, at least they could think of, where a position player had this surgery or had to have this surgery or had
Listen,
this
center fielder in softball is not an easy position. Let's be.
I mean, I could before I messed my arm up, I had a cannon. I was known for throwing people out with a line drive. I love throwing the ball from the fence to home plate. It's just what I did. That was when shagging fly balls and gunning people out from any point of the field was my favorite thing in the world in baseball. So so apparently I just threw it so hard that by the way, I got the ball to home and stopped the runner from scoring. So I guess, it
works one last time.
It worked one last time. Exactly. But anyway, back to that. There's a reason I bring that up because when I was recovering from the surgery and the PT and all that, they had me in one of those almost like robot casts that kind of work with you as you slowly adjust yourself, as you slowly get more. And obviously with your arm just not being able to work, I can't play PC games, right? League of Legends is at it. There's no way I can use a mouse. However, I can set up with a controller on a pillow and boom, guess what? You're good to go. So I would play, Borderlands 3. I would play, which is funny. That's what I used to put whenever my daughter would be fussy. I would put on Borderlands 3, and the vibration from the controller would help put her to sleep. So I would just set her. She would just set her in my arms like this, and have the controller like this, and then just that vibration would put her to sleep, and then we put her in the bed. But I started to get really back into Rocket League because I needed some type of competitive game. I had played Rocket League or League of Legends, not really the greatest player, but I had played on in teams and leagues and coached and stuff like that. So always been a competitive player. So I started to get really into Rocket League. Well, my buddy, who still is my duo bud, he goes, I need somebody to learn how to play this freaking game. I need somebody to learn because I've got 2 people that play with me. They're terrible. I love them to death. They're my best friends, but they're awful. I need somebody to learn. I was like, dude, I'm like silver 2. You're champ 2. He goes, I will teach you. I will teach you how to play this game. You're going to get destroyed for like the next 6 months, but you will learn how to play this game. I was like, all right, fine. Like, what else am I going to do? There's no way I can play PC games, so mess it. I'll never forget, he brought me into a C2 lobby, and the very first, I've never felt so useless in a video game or anything in my life. I was getting flip resetted on. It was just like everything. I had no idea what to do. He's like, get ready, they're going to do this. And I'm like, what is that? It's like, I know how to hit the ball and jump and boost, and that's about it. I ain't not a fast aerial at this point. So that started learning how to do it. He taught me all these different things. And then we, got into about 2020 where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start, streaming this. I got my PC, like 6 months before, because the PC I got was my buddy's old PC. Like my buddy showed up at my house on my birthday, which was yesterday, by the way, which is kind of funny, which is supposed to be our original interview date.
Yes, we were supposed to do it on the birthday. We were.
But yeah, they literally showed up and they were like, "Yeah, we want you to game with us again. We miss you." So they brought 2 monitors and his old tower and his old setup. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was enough to play League of Legends. It was enough to play Rocket League. All those, fairly decent. So I was like, all right. Cool. By that time, I was like, all right, well, I've got it on Steam, and I'll never forget going from PS4 to Steam on Rocket League felt like a cheat code just for the frame rate and how it went from being like fast to you're almost like you're floating, and it felt like a cheat code. I was like, all right, let's go with this. We're going to get this done. And then I just kind of kept growing. I think I got my first time I got champ rewards was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. And then I just kept going from there. I've played on different teams, in different leagues, all stuff like that. And it's never really worked out nicely, but I've always enjoyed the game. I've always had at this point, an addiction to it. I love it to death. Especially Rocket League and Rocket League, streaming Rocket League, casting Rocket League, coaching Rocket League. It picked me up at a point where, I didn't know if I probably will never get to play baseball again or play any sports because it hurts still badly to throw something. It still hurts to lift any weight over 30 pounds. Like I need to really, and that was 5.5 years ago. I really need to just break it down and go really start to work that arm out again. But even still, I have that bar in my arm, like a rod. Like I'll never be able to get that full strength that I would like because it's going to feel like the rod's trying to break out. Rocket League has meant a lot to me, and I love building the community that I've built. I love being parts of different communities. Discovering the Dad Gaming in December of 2022, and then getting to know everybody through that, playing games, then getting to meet Joel and become part of Channel 3, and then really getting the opportunity to coach, thanks to Coach Jesu. Probably one of my biggest bummers of all of it was the very first Coach Rue's How To I did. The cool thing was I got to review Coach Jesu's game that he, replay analysis, the one that got him to SSL. So that was really cool. But the person I got to coach the entire time was Rose. And that was like three months before he passed away. Mm-hmm. And I remember trying to find the video. I thought I had saved it onto my computer, but apparently I did not, because I'll never forget the best interaction was, as my wife's nickname is Rose. She's Mama Rose. She comes in all the time. That's why I have the rose on my antenna on any preset I do in Rocket League. He comes in and sees that, and he goes, "Who's this other Rose in your chat?" I was like, "Well, that's my wife. So if you want to fight her for the name, be my guest." He's like, "Okay, maybe not. I'm good. And I really wish that I could, because I really wanted to submit that clip to his memorial thing. So when I couldn't find that on my computer and saw that Twitch had deleted the VOD, that was a pretty big bummer. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, being able to cast for Channel 3, being able to cast the Wednesday night tournaments, Tuesday night tournaments, participating in them, winning a couple times in the Tuesday tournaments. Rocket League's been a lot, and it's opened a lot of doors and met a lot of really cool people. A lot of frustration, but it keeps me coming back because I've never played a game like it. No matter how good you think you are at any video game, if you are good at FPS and you go pick up another FPS, the skills transfer. If you are good at, say, a MOBA and, you have the basic understanding of that, last hitting and all that, that transfers to another MOBA. There's no other game on the planet that your skills help with Rocket League. It's just pure grind. It's you, the car, the ball, get good or get out. And, I tell people, when they said they want to start Rocket League, I was like, it is the easiest game to play, but the hardest game to master. That's honestly, I'll tell you right now, where Rocket League is as a community, which will get into the other part we're going to talk about. It's not good. It's Smurf City. It's people that just want to ruin the fun for everybody. It's toxic. People rage quit all the time. But the thing that keeps me going is not to get to that next rank. It's not to get to GC, not to get to SSL. It's just to improve. And that's the only reason I keep playing the game. That's the reason I've almost got 5,000 hours in it on Steam.
Do you think the game has a bigger Smurf problem than like any other game that has a rank mode? Like, why is that such a problem in Rocket League? Why does it seem like such a problem?
I feel like the problem with that, especially in 2v2, is that a lot of the time, especially if you're solo queuing with another player and say you are this rank and they are this rank, and then you have somebody that's usually a Smurf is going to be with somebody who doesn't deserve the rank that they're currently in because they're being carried. And that Smurf is so far above you, especially in 2v2. I mean, if you watch our Wednesday night tournaments, say like when we had Skillar on, love Skillar to death, but he's a GC2 with insane mechs. That's keyboard and mouse. We could play a 3v1 against him and he would still destroy us in the tournament. It's just the level of skill that it takes to put a shot on, the mechanics you have that can throw people off, the ability to read the ball and react faster. I always say in Rocket League, mechs don't make a rank. Speed does. As you get higher in rank, you have to become faster. And the way you become faster is game sense, rotation knowledge, being able to know how to use your boost correctly and pick up the pads that you need and know when to get big boost at certain times. So all of that plays in. Whereas like if you go say, don't get me wrong, like League of Legends had plenty of Smurfs. I played League of Legends from 2010 to 2020 and still occasionally goof off on it on occasion with my buddies on like ARAMs. And when you play against a truly unbelievable player, it'll stick with you. But with Rocket League, especially in like the 2v2 where a lot of Smurfs like to hang out, it doesn't take much if you're way above somebody to just absolutely blindside them and they're just done. And especially when you're solo queuing, when you get blindsided, like say somebody hits, a double flip reset, or they hit a really nice double tap, or they just fake you and your teammate out of your shoes and just demoralize you right there. Like that's what a Smurf's going to look to do most of the time. If they don't care that they're Smurfing, they're literally going to look to hit a play if they get the opportunity that's going to make you realize that you could, if you're playing against somebody that's truly just way superior to you, they could score an absolutely sick goal on you that will demoralize you. And then they could go AFK and let their buddy play. And y'all could score 10 goals on that team. And if they have like 3 minutes left, they're going to beat you by 20 because they know how to score quickly. They know how to react. And the whole point is you want to, a lot of the times, a lot of people I've heard a lot of people compare, especially 2v2 Rocket League, to say like tennis. It's not about, continuously scoring on your team or your opponent. It's about having those unforced errors and, taking advantage of that. So like you put the pressure on them and they have a bad touch, so you score. They go for a stupid shot, you counterattack, you score. Threes obviously is a little bit more difficult because there's more people on the field, there's tighter rotations, wider rotations. People are able to get back. But 2v2 and 1v1, if you're going against the Smurf and you're not ready for it, more than likely you're going to be FFing in the first, the moment you get the chance at 3:30. Why
do they do this? Help me understand.
I don't really get. I mean, some people, they just are. I will say this. I feel like a lot of Smurfs they're just not good enough to beat their rank. So when they're getting on a bad losing streak, they'll go on a Smurf and they'll go pub stomp. Because let's be honest, sometimes you just want to go into casual or something like that, or go on an alt and just absolutely destroy people. It just feels good.
Yeah, but that's what casuals are for. Like
exactly.
You said, why would you just go on casuals?
I don't know. I mean, I've played people that have been former SSLs and Diamond 1 of ones. Like I've never understood the point of like why people like to Smurf. I've also never understood the point of having, bringing somebody, like, I mean, I guess you could say I did kind of had the same thing, but it wasn't like I was smurfing. My buddy was smurfing me to champ, or when he was teaching me to or smurfing to diamond, like he got me to plat and then let me go. We played off and on, and got me to diamond. But at the same time, the entire time we're playing against people of his rank or just slightly below, because they mix the MMR, but they're going to get closer to the top players MMR than they are going to get the lower players MMR, especially in 2v2. So I'm not, he's not smurfing because I'm still having to work my tail off and he's still having to try a pretty decent penny. Whereas like if you have, say, a GC smurf carrying his buddy who's normally like diamond 1 to champ, he's on that alt. So he's already got, if he's got that, sub 1,000 MMR, then he's just playing against people that are either A, Smurfs like him, B, people that are former champs, like especially nowadays after they did the rank reset, with when them mixing those and dropping people and stuff like that. There's so many GCs that are trying to get back to GC that are just all stuck in between champ 1 to champ 3. They just is littered with it. Or you've got champs that, I mean, I don't think Diamond 3 has a single actual person that's actually been Diamond 3. Because Diamond 3 is, especially in 3v3, Diamond 3 is just littered with GC tags and champ players. Because everybody wants to try to get back to where they were. But they can't because they're all mixing in. And then you throw in the Smurfs and it's pure chaos. And I would say champ 1 and 2s and 3s is probably the most chaotic, inconsistent rank I've ever played in any video game ever.
I try and avoid negativity as a general rule for the podcast and a lot of things. Smurfs are losers. That's all. Get out of my
100%.
Get out of here.
You don't.
Plus,
you don't,
as a coach, I've had I've had players, especially the ones I started out teaching, like that are low. They're like, can you get me to a certain rank? I said, I will teach you how to get to that rank, but I will not carry you, because if I'm carrying you to that rank, how are you going to get any better? The only way to get better, especially in a game like Rocket League, is to either grind your tail off with the right grind. If you're just in free play, just hitting the ball around and trying to learn all these crazy mechanics and not, especially if you're on PC and you're not doing workshop maps, you're not, not learning such things as a wave dash, and you're not learning half flips, but you're learning how to flip reset and all that stuff. Unless you're looking to be a freestyler, that's not going to help you. Champ is full of players that are freestylers or want to be freestylers. You can tell the moment they touch the ball, because they're going to go up, they're going to do all that stuff. And most of the time you're sitting there watching them like this and you're waiting for them to make their move, but they're not good enough to actually execute that and truly fool you. So you just wait for them to mess up and then you just take advantage of it. But I've never understood, especially I always ask people when I get into a Smurf match, especially when it's like the person has like 1,600 points and their teammate's got like 200. I was like, what does your teammate get out of this? A tag? A rank? A reward? That means nothing? Like some people want that GC tag. Some people want those champ rewards. Somebody they'll fight for it, but they won't fight correctly. But in the end, unless you just want the rewards and you're ready to get out, you're not learning how to play the game. You're being rushed through, but you never learn the mechanics. You never learn anything. And then when you're alone by yourself, you know what? The only people that are going to suffer from that? You and whatever teammates you have that aren't the Smurf, because you have no idea what you're doing. I don't get it.
So let's switch positive. You are now in charge of Rocket League. You're now in charge. What's the first thing you're doing, or what's the changes you're making to made the game.
Like, say if I'm Psionics or if I'm Epic.
Well, whoever you are, the one who you're gonna fix the game because you're gonna make it more fun for everyone. You're gonna add content to it. You're gonna put some controls onto the accounts. What do you want to do to improve the game for everybody?
First thing I'm doing is I am going to make it where you have to have a verified phone number on an account. The second thing I'm doing is I'm going to make it where it's not a level cap. Like, you can do a level cap. Like League of Legends, I think, did it right. There are plenty of Smurfs in League of Legends, but if you want to Smurf in League of Legends, you got to work a little bit. You can't play ranked in League of Legends until you hit level 30. To hit level 30, you have to play a minimum of 135 games completed.
It's a lot more than 10 or whatever. Yeah.
135 games completed. Whereas the game can be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. So you have to work to make that happen. Whereas Rocket League, when they did the 10, you can get 10 in like a couple hours. And the best part is that when it was 10, you could literally queue up with anybody that had already had the level 10 and you could instantly go into a game. That blew my mind. I knew people that had, I remember one of my buddies legitimately had one of the, like a booster clan, like come into his chat, like trying to sell him boosting and like was explaining how much they make and stuff. We basically interviewed them and they make tons of money off boosting. Even some pros do it. Like, there's just big money to be made. People want that GC reward. People want that SSL title. And they will pay people to do it. And they will pay a lot of money to do it.
Listen, I've had middle schoolers tell me that they had other people pay the money to play their account.
Yeah.
To unlock stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is especially like for Fortnite, because a lot of my middle schoolers play Fortnite, or some play will play a lot of Apex.
I mean, that's
the
been going on in gaming.
Yeah.
If there's rank, there's people paying to get to a certain point.
Yeah.
I mean, look at a lot of things are just instant gratification is pay to win or pay to get to a certain point. And some people, either they don't have the time or they don't care enough or they just want to show off. Like a lot of, I'm not saying, streamers that I know, but a lot of streamers, especially back then, you wanted to look like you knew what you were doing. So pay somebody to play your account, unlock everything, or just buy everything. And, it's just, unfortunately, a lot of gaming has just kind of turned into mobile gaming almost. It's just swipe that card, get what you want.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money made on mobile gaming.
Ton of money. I mean,
these days too. It's just the most.
Yeah.
So, what about hey, let's go. Do you like the boost update? Does it matter?
I will tell you right now, the boost update actually helps with casting too.
Oh, because now you can see it as the caster. Does it matter?
Think about it. When you're casting and you didn't have the boost update, you had to, if you wanted to stay in the playing, especially like pros and stuff, they instinctually will watch when a pro gets a boost. They're trying to keep up with the boost amount, stuff like that, trying to keep up with all the players in the field that they can see. Now that you can see all the individual ones, casters don't have to look at the boost pads. They don't have to look at their pass. They can just watch the action and see what the players' boosts are at all times.
Does it matter when you're like on a good team and you're communicating? Because you're just telling each other what your boost is all the time, right? Does it matter seeing that? Does it help?
As fast as things can turn in Rocket League, honestly, once you it'll take you a second to get to it, but once you've kind of turned that muscle memory on to see, like, okay, my teammate is here. Because once you hit about GC2, sometimes GC, but mostly GC2 and above, a lot of people were saying that this boost update wouldn't help them because they already have that game sense and that knowledge to already know pretty much based off of where their teammates are, where their pathing has gone. They pretty much know how to almost to the percentage how much boost each teammate has. Now they don't have to guess. Now you don't have to make educated guesses. It's kind of like in League of Legends where originally you had to have people that had timers for Dragon, for Baron, for Flash, for the wards, for the camps, all that. Then I want to say 2015, they introduced all the timers. Like they had apps on their phone that you could download that had the timers, and I would, until I got good enough to do it in my head, I would tap my phone and there would be all the different icons: flash, dragon, baron, red buff, blue buff, ward timers, like all those different things. And so as you're learning out, you want to learn those, but till then you had that app that could help you with it. Then they added something that started showing all the timers. Then you could see your teammates' flash timers. You could see their cooldowns, stuff like that. You could see their ult cooldowns. I remember when they added that. You play better when you don't have to make as many guesses. Yes, you can communicate, but your teammate can't communicate every 5 seconds. Oh, I have this boost amount. I have this boost amount. I have this boost amount. They had to, but that also takes away from, okay, I'm tapping this ball. I'm putting a touch on here. I'm sending a pass. I'm going this. The less you have to think, the better you play. That's why the best shot callers take in as much information as possible and then throw it out to their team. And they call each individual thing that they need. And, when the teams are playing, listening to pros, whether it be Rocket League, Call of Duty, Fortnite, League of Legends, Dota, all those, like listening to pros shot call when they do their communications is so sweet to the ears, because you hear how much knowledge they have and how little space they leave out, to where you can almost guess for them what they need to do next, because they give so much information. So you play better, you react better, and you have a better understanding, and your game sense goes up when you don't have to think. And that's why that boosting thing is amazing, because you can just look and see, okay, my teammate has this much boost. He has this much boost. Do I need to go in for the play because he has no boost? Do I need to go for this? Can I throw the pass out that I want to give to him, but does he have no boost to get to it? It takes away another part of having to add excess communication, that you could just focus on what you need.
Let's end with this. Tell us about Faded Esports, because that's your group.
That is indeed. That is a buddy of mine. It was a retired Rainbow Six pro. Is Gray Wolf Tats. He's also part of Channel 3, obviously. And he approached me and he said, "Hey, do you want to be a content creator for Faded?" Because he knew I wanted to be a content creator for an organization. That's what I wanted. I didn't really want to be a player. I never, I've got a family. I've got kids. I have no interest in becoming a pro player. Would I love to be a coach that brings a player or a team to the RLCS? Absolutely. Will it happen? We'll see. However, I've never had any interest. Maybe when I was in my 20s and I was single and, had the time, maybe, yeah, I wanted to be a League of Legends pro. The money involved. My dad, not the biggest fan of gaming. He's the one who introduced me to gaming at 4 years old. Playing, NES, Duck Hunt, Mario. Then when we got our Sega Genesis, playing The Lion King, Aladdin, Sonic, all those different games with him, trying to beat all of them. But once the buttons got a little bit more complicated, say like the PlayStation, he checked out. It was just too many buttons. But even him, he didn't really like gaming as much. But I'll never forget when I was sitting there watching the NA final for one of the summer splits of LCS, of League of Legends, and him coming in and he's like, "Do you really understand what's going on?" And there's just explosions on the screen. I'm like, "Yeah, I understand pretty much everything's going on." And he goes, "Is that why you play the game? Because you enjoy it?" And I was like, "Well, I would, if I could go pro, this would be amazing." He's like, "Well, what, you talking about major money?" I was like, "Oh yeah, way major money." And he was like, "Well, maybe we should go do it then." I'm like, "Yeah, go figure." But no, Faded Esports is amazing. We finally are pretty much solidified our roster. We've had some really good rosters, and then they've kind of broken apart, or people have burned out. Especially when Rocket League removed trading and everybody kind of started to do that exodus away from Rocket League. A lot of players that kind of had that dream were like, is there even going to be an RLCS next season? Is this game even going to be viable in a couple of years? Or is it going to be a mini game in Fortnite? We've had quite a few rosters just kind of evaporate, or somebody gets burnt out or mentally can't handle it. Finally got the subs and the roster set that I want. So now we're going to start grinding, and who knows? Hopefully by next year we'll be participating in the RLCS quals, because my team's currently 2 GCs and C3, and all the C3 easily could be Esper. He could easily be GC. He just needs to grind it. We'll see. We'll see if they get to the point that we like and they feel good, then we'll try it out on the quals. Experience helps, but at the same time, if you go into quals and you get such a low seed that you end up facing like a pro team and you get beat by like 40, maybe that just kills any dream you want. So I don't want them to be, a lot of scrims and stuff ahead, but I know they're ready to grind, so we're gonna grind it out. But like I said, Faded Esports, finally I got my jersey. We've got a kid that is 15. He was 15, and he is made over $20,000 so far in winnings on Fortnite, and he's actually participating in DreamHack here in, I guess, June. Is that what DreamHack is? The one in Dallas? I think that's what it is. June or July. But yeah, really cool kid. And, like I said, my thoughts on Fortnite. But I'm going to obviously support all of my, all of the players, all of the people, the different ones. And the fact that Faded is also a partner of Channel 3, that having my two organizations meld with each other means the world, because I brought Faded to Channel 3. I introduced them to the tournaments. I talked to Gray about it. We took off from there, and then I'll never forget when Joel gave his video presentation to us about what Channel 3 could offer Faded, and it blew Gray's mind. It's like, we've had multiple organizations that wanted to partner with us, but it seemed like all they wanted to do was grow. They wanted to grow off us, or they were bigger than us, but they just wanted to use us to grow themselves and just get more people. Whereas Joel was like, I can give you this. This is what you get from us. And it was just, it's been a journey. Like I said, I've been on many different small esport orgs in League of Legends and Rocket League. None of them have worked out. I pretty much said if Faded didn't work out, I was done. I didn't want anything to do with it. I would just be a gamer, and that was it. But it went from content creation to, okay, we've got a really good Rocket League squad possibly here. Do you want to be the coach? Sure, let's go. Then as, AJ was born, my son, in October, and then him going through all the stuff he went through, especially when he was hospitalized for a week at Children's, I took a step back. And I let my assistant coach become the head coach. Well, a month later, 2 of my players that were also friends of his and himself all said they were burnt out, and they dipped, and that just destroyed the roster. So we've been playing catch up ever since. Esper is the only one remaining of the original roster, and even he's like, I don't even know if I want to do it. And I told him, hey, I'll get you this, and let's see, and we'll find you a third, and then let's see how we can go from there. And he's like, all right, we'll give it one more shot, but if this roster implodes, we'll see how it goes. He's like, I don't want to dip on Faded, but at the same time, I don't want to possibly waste my talents if I could go somewhere, since we keep imploding over and over and over again. We start up, we get good, and then we go away. I love being a coach. I love coaching people. I love watching them improve. One of my proudest ones is Dragon. When he first came, I first started coaching him, he was gold 1. He could barely hit the ball. He could barely chase the ball. I mean, y'all seen Dragon's improvement throughout the year. I mean, dude's a force to be reckoned with. And now he's this close after a year of coaching to getting his champ rewards. You want to, when you coach, you want to have individualized plans, but you also want to make sure that not only you making them a better player, but you're also improving their mental health, their emotionally be there. Because in the end, your players become like your family and your friends. You don't want to just see them as assets. And, that's the last thing I would want to see is, okay, this is just a means to an end. My players are a means to an end. go get my name in lights to that, Coach Rue at RLCS. No, I don't want that. I want my players to respect me. I want people to respect who I am. And it's been a journey, and it's still a long way to write, and it's still kind of in the opening chapters, and we'll just kind of see where it goes.
And we are here for it.
I appreciate that.
Well, let's hop off on Dragons there, because there are other games. There are other games on the docket for you.
No,
do you want me to do the exclamation point epic real quick though?
I'll go for it.
I can give that one real quick. So obviously, ever since Epic picked it up, I get it. It probably saved Rocket League, but I think they had enough of a feverish fan base that it never would have died. But I would sell my Rocket League account and quit Rocket League forever if Epic would sell the game to somewhere else. And I'm sure a lot of Rocket League players would do that. Like sell it to Valve, sell it to Riot, sell it to somebody who would actually care and not just use it as a means to funnel people to Fortnite. There's a reason I don't like Fortnite, and a lot of it has to do with the way Epic has treated Rocket League and other properties. In the end, it all just gets funneled back to Fortnite. That's the golden child, and the other games are the redhead stepchild. If you're going to treat, I get, but
for 222,000 points, you can make Rue play Fortnite anyway.
Yeah, Spiegel did that. He had a blast with that too. That was a good time. That was his birthday weekend. So we had a good time. We had a good time. I played with the Channel 3 crew and also one of my oldest gaming buddy, who's actually one of the newest content creators, and today officially is a Twitch affiliate. So really proud of him on that.
Smeagol was pushing. Made sure we sent we had a nice marbles raid sent to us, and we then threw the marbles raid his way. So we were hoping it was going to be enough to push him over the edge there.
Yeah, he had a blast. We had a lot of fun. So I'm glad that he also worked with me, because it's supposed to be 8 hours of streaming, and it was like 2 a.m. We had a couple things that went down throughout that night. No, I had a couple things that went down throughout that night that kind of set off my anxiety and PTSD, which is why I pushed the mental health aspect of my stream so much, and always bring up the 98888 number, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, because I do know plenty of people that have had to use that number. I know plenty of people with a semicolon tattoo, and I know that with anxiety and PTSD, how mentally taxing your mind can be because your mind's always going to be your worst enemy. And learning how to deal with that, especially in content creation, where you feel like you're letting people down if you don't stream or you don't put out content, right? And you push yourself to the limit. Your viewers and your fans and all that, they can tell when you're at your limit. And a lot of people, it doesn't get talked about enough. Thankfully, there's been a much bigger movement in mental health, especially in content creation. So I'm really really happy with that, but it's still not enough. So that's why I make sure to bring it up at least once a stream. And then I have a timer that runs every 30 minutes that has the times, how to do it, the number, and I have the number for the UK as well. So, but yeah, anyway, so with the F Epic, when you put in F Epic, you get the best, I think, FU GIF on the planet in movies, and it's from a movie called is it the 9th? I want to say it's the 9th session. Hold on, let me see. It's called Session 9, and the actor that plays it is the guy that plays Horatio in CSI Miami. You know, talking about the one with the sunglasses.
David, not Carradine. I'm sorry, redhead guy. Yeah,
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, he does the absolute best I've ever seen in a movie. So I've always saw that and thought that's just a perfect gift for anything. So anytime anybody does F Epic in chat, that's what pops up. Anytime I go on a rant about Epic or them just throwing Rocket League to the curb, especially with, removing trading, bringing in Rocket Racing, when you think Rocket Racing, oh, that should be on Rocket League. No, it's on Fortnite. And it's just, there's a lot of uncertainty with Rocket League. I think now with Blast taking over the RLCS and the majors and all that, and them doing a fantastic job, hopefully that'll push Epic to give a little bit more money towards Rocket League, because honestly, a lot of Rocket League content creators have just dipped, like Sunless Khan and all them. Like they just don't enjoy. They don't like the community anymore, and especially the ranked community. It's just full of smurfs, toxicity, people rage quitting, people giving up throughout the match. There's no competitive spirit. There's no fire for anybody. So yeah, that's why it's !F epic in chat.
Well, on that note, we are going to do that by moving on to Monster Hunter World. I tried to use the dragon thing before. It was a tougher transition.
Yeah,
this
you
time.
tried it. I'll give you credit for that. Yeah. Yeah. So I picked up Monster. I've always kind of enjoyed the Monster Hunter series. I played different ones on different consoles throughout, my life. But the one I really got into was Monster Hunter World when it first came out. And I played with the Insect Glaive, loved it, beat it, pushed a little bit through the end game. But it also came out when I got hurt.
Yeah, my line of questioning changed based on the 5.5 year ago timing. Is this a 2018 game? Like, well, guess where this lines up? Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, Rocket League, every time, I swear sometimes I'm like really enjoying a game and all I could think of was, man, I could be playing Rocket League and improving right now. And sometimes that voice wins out. Not as much lately. I will definitely say after the trading and people dipping and the attitude and stuff, outside of playing with friends or playing on stream and stuff like that, I don't really solo queue anymore unless it's extra modes. I'll go play extra modes a lot more. I enjoy extra modes. But yeah, so Monster Hunter World, picked it up again because I got it in January of 2023. January of this year. I got that in the Iceborne expansion for on CD keys for like $15. I was like, all right. I was like, $70-$80 worth of games for $15. I can't pass that up because the 20th anniversary of Monster Hunter just happened.
Yeah, 2004, 20 years.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got Monster Hunter Wilds coming out hopefully in 2025.
We're gonna get to that one. Hold off on that one. We're gonna get that.
Oh yeah. So so I was looking through the weapons. I was like, I did the Insect Glaive before. That was fun, but I don't want to do that. So I was looking at different ones. I decided, I was just like Googled. I was like, what is the most technical weapon? And started looking through the weapons, and I saw somebody do a video on how to guard point and use the charge blade like with world records and speedrunning. And Instant was like, man, that's almost like doing a fighting game. That's a lot of technical skill to it. I'm gonna go check that out. So loaded up the charge blade. I'll never forget like being in training and then going out and like using it in the first like mission, and I'm like whooping up on things, and then the blade glows hot, and then the blade bounces every time unless you deposit the charges back into the blade. Well, I didn't know how to do that. I know what button I need to hit. So I finally went back to training, figured that out. And then I went and watched the how-to video because I was like, all right, there's way too much to this. I'm going to go watch somebody break it down. And like I would do if I needed to learn a Rocket League mechanic, take it down to stupid level, and we will go. And I think now I have almost 250 hours of Monster Hunter. I have several people that have come into my chat, and I've gotten to know some of the Monster Hunter community on Twitch. But one of them is this amazing woman from Japan, and she's maxed out. Like she's Hunter rank 999. She's Master rank 999. But she'll go out and she'll just show me how to do things, especially on the end game, help me with monsters, stuff like that. So it just goes back to I don't know. I've always really enjoyed games with a lot of technical skill, like fighting games. I love fighting games. I suck at them, but I appreciate them. Like I will watch Evo and I will watch every top 8 of every fighting game. Even if it's a game I've never heard of, have no idea. Like I enjoy that technical aspect of watching people just excel at their craft.
Where did Monster Hunter start for you that you went looking for it this year?
The original.
PS2 2004. You're cracking this thing open.
Mm-hmm. I remember trying it, going, man, this is really freaking difficult, but it's fun. And then I had a couple buddies that really got addicted to the game, and I tried it back and forth. I never really got truly into it until Monster Hunter World, but I tried different ones.
Did you
like
play
I would try
online
it here and there. Nah, I didn't play online.
That was one of those early get the Ethernet attachment for the PS2 games that you could You could attach it.
Nah, I didn't play online. I didn't play. Matter of fact, my very first online game that was console based, besides the ones I played at my buddy's house, was playing Halo 2 on the 360. That was the very first time I ever played online with, I played Halo, like Doom and stuff like that, and on like a PC. Like our PC and my family's PC was garbage, but I would play like Halo CE and stuff like that. Loved playing online, but never really played. I tried to get the whole Ethernet set up with, like I got the attachment stuff for the PlayStation 2. Our internet was just so god awful that it couldn't work.
I was in college at the time. That was the only reason I had anything worthwhile for that, was because I had college. I had the college Ethernet there. So
I'm still not convinced it really happened.
Like my buddy was obsessed with SOCOM 2. He played SOCOM 2 till like the brakes fell off.
So SOCOM was the reason I don't play any of those games. Why I don't do Call of Duty. We had a whole apartment full of people. We had like, different apartments. We all got the attachment. We're playing SOCOM. I would get shot 3 seconds in and it was over. I'm like, oh, I get to wait 20 minutes.
SOCOM was brutal. Like my buddy was insanely good at SOCOM, but nah, my shine was LAN parties on like Halo. You give me a pistol and a sniper rifle in Halo and I could kill anybody. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how good you were at the game. It didn't matter if you were, whatever weapon you had, whatever vehicle you had. If I had a sniper rifle and a pistol, I was going to kill you. Like when we would go on like church retreats and stuff like that, and we'd have like the whole setup of like 4-on-4, like capture the flag and stuff like that. Like my team's like, give him the sniper rifle and let him go. And it's like you'd have the person with the lowest kills or the lowest contribution like sit out. Like I could be there for hours on end because I wasn't gonna never was gonna come close to the bottom. And then Halo 2, I got all the way to the top rank of team snipers in Halo 2 online. I was just really good with a sniper rifle. That's really when I first started coaching in video games. I taught people how to snipe in video games. Like I had legitimately had like my buddies called it my sniper school. And I would teach you how to snipe in Halo. I would teach you how to snipe in Call of Duty. I would teach you how to snipe in Battlefield.
Let me ask you one more question about Monster Hunter to jump back in. How do you? So it's funny. The answer I did not expect to be started playing this year in January and have at the top of your list. Is this just like stress relief where you get away and play something else? What is this?
It is and it isn't. Like it is definitely a great cooldown game to Rocket League. Like I would play Rocket League, and if I start to get stressed or didn't enjoy it, or just really just need something, I'd switch to Monster Hunter and I'd go have fun with that. And like I said, learning a new thing with that charge blade, just to be able to do, especially like guard pointing and to do all the different combos with that charge blade, you almost have to execute, like a fighting game. Like it really, the combination is insane. It was a really nice retreat. Plus my wife picked up Monster Hunter World and we were playing and I was kind of teaching her, and she's still kind of learning the game as well. She plays longsword. So, I kind of jump back and forth, but it was just another game. And it was the only game I could think of in recent years outside of like random games that I'd beat on stream that had actually hooked me away from Rocket League. And I think that had to do with A, how good of a game it was, and B, how bad Epic had screwed up Rocket League.
You did it so badly, you sent me to Capcom, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's move to game 3, the newest one on the list here.
No Rest of the Wicked.
No Rest of the Wicked. Tell us, how'd you end up getting involved with the developer or getting a key from them? How'd that all go down?
I've been ever since I saw a video on that game, like I was like, okay, this looks incredible. I was like, I heard it's an ARPG. Okay, all right. Well, anytime it's ARPG, PoE, the isometric camera, Diablo, stuff like that. Love all those games. But saw a trailer and I was like, wait, this isn't look. I mean, it looks like those, but the combat is more like a Soulsborne game or like Death's Door and those other ones where it's timing, it's parrying. It's not just kill a million mobs, get the gear, make the stats go up, you get stronger. It's okay, you got a weapon. Okay, you got a shield. Okay, you better learn the enemy's attacks, you're going to die. Plus, the exploration looked really cool, and it looked like the Soulsborne games, because I love Soulsborne games. I've beaten every single one of the Soulsborne games, whether it be Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, all of them. Love them all to death. Bloodborne being my absolute favorite. It's just, it instantly was like, okay, this is a really cool idea. And I actually just come off playing Lies of P too, which is a homage to Soulsborne games where you play as, a darker side of the Pinocchio story. I'm always on the lookout for, and plus I played a game that's called Death's Door, where you play as a bird that's basically a Grim Reaper and training, and it has the combat like Hades and stuff like that. So instantly I was hooked. Every time I saw a video, I even followed all their like socials on Twitter and all those different things. And the week before the game was supposed to release, like I was already planning to buy my copy, do a giveaway. So that was already set in stone. Like I already had that idea. And I saw that they were doing a key mailer campaign through a site. And one of the things I did for the longest time was when I streamed on another name, I was on a site where basically a developer would post a game and you would contact that developer and say, hey, for this amount of money, I will stream for this many hours and plug your game and make a video and all those other different things. Do you agree? And they could either say, yes, we agree with these terms, or they renegotiate and stuff like that. And I got to know a couple of developers, including one of this dude that literally just develops, he's his own game. He's the only guy. And he actually contacted me later because I stayed friends with him on socials and stuff like that. Even after I gotten out of this program, he was like, hey, I know you're not with that anymore, but hey, do you want a copy to the game and play it on stream? And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, do you mind if I interview you? Because I kind of want to get some insight on what it takes to be a game developer and what you would have to do from the standpoint of a indie developer that's starting out. And, what assets did you buy? What assets did you make? What was the process? How difficult is it to get a game on Steam? How difficult is it to get on PlayStation, Xbox, all those different things. And I interviewed him the entire time I played, plus while he gave me insight onto the game. So it was really cool. So I was like, you know what? Hail Mary in the dark. There's a week left. Probably won't get into it. And signed up for the key mailer, a site I'd never used. But I was like, all right, I'll just end this after if I get a key. That'll be cool. Either way. Day the game comes out, checking my email like crazy, hoping to get it. Nothing. It's around 7, 8 o'clock at night. I put Rue to bed, get an email. I get an email ding on my phone. I look, congratulations, you qualified to get a No Rest for the Wicked key. And here's how you get it. Instantly started just doing laps around the house. Like I was just excited. Like that was a really cool feeling. Just
Ray was excited for you, but also a bit jealous, just so we're clear.
Really?
Oh yeah, I would have played this like crazy. But
can I do a little plug real quick?
You can plug. It's your show.
Well, as y'all know, I'm still giving away one more copy of No Rest for the Wicked that I'm buying. I bought one.
Fair warning. This isn't airing until May 22nd, so it's going to be a minute.
I'll just announce that part though. I'll put a post up and say Rue gave this away to us.
Yeah, well, there's still one more copy to be done. So I'm either going to do that tomorrow or maybe Wednesday after, So you still got a chance. And this is me.
Send the memo. You can get the Channel 3 account to post it too. Make sure that happens.
All right, that sounds good. Like I said, I think we still have like 30 people in the giveaway. So, and I'll be hopefully playing some more of that tomorrow. I was going to stream tonight. still kind of getting over the whatever gunk we had. We slept all day last night, so I enjoyed my birthday. We got to hang out for a long time, but we also slept through a lot of it after it hit midnight. Wife and I were like, we're kind of exhausted. The kids have been kind of crazy with everybody being sick. It's like we're just gonna pass out. So I think we slept on and off throughout the night. We watched random stuff. It was a great birthday, regardless of that. Got to stream some, got to do what I do, got to do the watch party for the RLCS. So that was fun. Congratulations to Gen G for upsetting G2. They have their number apparently because they have beaten them the last 4 times they played them in any tournament. So that's pretty impressive because G2 has just destroyed most of NA. But yeah, so I'm giving away one more copy. Like I said, this is coming from my pocket. I got the key. I was originally going to buy a copy for myself and do one giveaway. I was like, I got a free copy, so I'm going to give away 2 copies. So one's already been claimed, but you still got one more. So all you got to do.
What are your initial thoughts on the game after playing it for a bit?
Initial thoughts of the game. I will admit, there's a reason I'm currently doing my my subathon, which might still possibly be going on by the time the 22nd happened of May. Who knows? The way I'm doing this format. Last time I did a subathon, it was did 132 hours because I did every $5 made is an hour added to the timer. And some really generous people. But got basically no sleep. I think I slept 20 hours total to then 132 hours. But without having a second kid, and all, I was like, that's not
sustainable.
We're not going to be zombified here. You're 35 now. Your age is starting to slowly catch up with you a little bit. Yeah, you've got the parent sleep thing.
Once you hit 30, it starts to take like a day to recover from that. And then the further it gets, it starts taking more days, Rue. Be careful.
Yeah, somebody who, has been fighting migraines and been chronically ill for 20 plus years. I can definitely tell the last couple of years that it is way harder for me to recover from a bad migraine.
What does your business card say? Migraine enthusiast, I think, is the exact
migraine connoisseur.
That's it. I knew it was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. Migraine. Because I've had a migraine every single day for the last 20 years.
I tell you, just doing Fall Guys on Saturday. I was dead Sunday. I was dead Sunday, and I kind of walked around today. I mean, even just doing that, I was like, man, it's too much excitement late at night. I need 2 days just to recover from it.
But yeah, I could definitely tell that it definitely takes a lot more if I have a really, really bad migraine. That puts me on my tail. Because I treat my migraines like I treat competitions. If I lay in bed all day, if I don't get anything done, even if anything is getting up and doing laundry, cleaning the kitchen, going to cook, heck, even just to go play a game for a few hours, playing with my kids, stuff like that. If I do any of that, I win. But if I lay in bed all day, I lose. And I don't lose very often. But I've lost a little bit more than I've probably lost more in the last couple of years than I've lost in my entire other 17 years combined. But it definitely takes a lot more to recover from a really bad migraine. Whereas usually I was like, I used to function on like 4 hours of sleep, maybe not even that every single day, because I'd just be in so much pain that I couldn't sleep. I would just pass out, then stay awake, pass out, rinse, repeat. Road Rash for the Wicked. It's a lot of fun. It's it's definitely difficult. It's I love the fact that it rewards exploration. It definitely can get a little frustrating, especially I think they adjusted it, but so the way it works is that instead of losing quote unquote souls, like you would in most Soulsborne games, what it is that every time you die after you get to the hub world, Sanctuary. That's not Sanctuary. My mind's blank, but you get the point. I think once you get to that hub world, then after that, every time you die, your stuff starts to degrade. And I think originally it was like 15% every time you died. Then they switched it to 10%. But I mean, you can get to the point where you literally lose. You get down to just, your skivvies and no weapon or anything, your bare fist, because all your stuff is disintegrated because you don't have any money to fix it. No rest of it, there's a lot of interesting things like they have like an upgrade. They have a town upgrade mechanic where you can go. It's almost like a survival aspect because you go and you can go chop wood. You can go use a pick and go mine minerals. You can go dig in the ground with a shovel. You can fish. You can use all these different things, and those things will break after a certain amount of uses. But then you can use those resources to upgrade parts of your hub world, which then gives you actually, like, if you upgrade, if you fix the inn that's there, well, now you can go there and you can heal by just resting in a bed. Because if you do what's called you hit the whisper, which is basically like your save point and also your fast travel point, and it's basically like a fire, the fire at in like a Soulsborne game, but you don't heal when you go there. The enemies don't come back. They don't come back, but they have a really cool system where when you clear out an area and then you go to the next area, when you come back to that old area, they have new enemies there. They have stronger enemies there. They have new resources there. The resources slowly come back. So you could go from where you're just clean clocking everything to you leave there and you go to the next one. You come back to go, oh, I need to backtrack, go get this mission done. Well, guess what? Now you're fighting elites. And you better be ready. But, combat is smooth. I will say there's some technical issues, but like I said, it also comes back to the fact that's why I'm doing my subathon. It's to upgrade my PC. My poor CPU is has about hit its mark. So that's the plan. Upgrade the PC, motherboard, case, power supply. That GPU is not incredible, but it'll get me to where I need for a while. But you can definitely, even my buddy who has a battle station, like a legit really good gaming PC, says even it sounds like a jet engine taking off when he plays that game, kind of like what he did with Dragon's Dogma 2. So he refunded the game. He didn't have much faith in it. It's not really his type of game. He didn't like Hades or anything like that. So he wanted to try it with me because the first major update they do, they're going to add 4-player co-op.
Right.
And when you join the game, you have your character you create, and then you create a realm, and that's what your player plays in. And they have it where when the 4-player, people can come into your realm and play in that realm. And they actually have a community chest where you can put items in that community chest, and you can share items between the 4 players the players that go into that realm. So that's pretty cool. But like I said, it's gritty. It's visceral. It's a lot of fun. It's not easy. You will die. But there's some definitely uniqueness to it. Boss battles, they've only had a couple boss battles so far because, like I said, it's early access. So they plan on adding a lot more to it. And the end game is not really fleshed out much. It's kind of like a big crucible dungeon, and that's really it. But the rewards are worth it. I haven't even come close to that. I think I'm barely out of the hub world introduction because I like to explore. I've connected all of the basically, I'd say, tutorial area map, because everything, whether you knock down a ladder, you knock down a drawbridge, all these different things, all the map parts connect to each other, just like a Soulsborne game. And like I said, I tell everybody when they watch me play an RPG, if you don't like exploration, you might as well just get out of my chat, because I'm going to check out every nook and cranny and do every stupid side quest. And that's how I play games.
Well, let's move on. Keep the Soulsborne going in the honorable mentions. We're going to talk about one more game here. We've got Bloodborne that you mentioned earlier as your favorite Soulsborne. So why Bloodborne? How come not the Dark Souls? How come not Elden Ring? Why are we talking about this game that's trapped in 2015 and refuses to come to PC?
Why would it not come to PC?
Tell us about Bloodborne.
I would do anything to get this game to PC, or like I don't even care about a sequel. They don't have to make a Bloodborne 2. Just bring that game to next gen and PC. I'm a big horror movie and like that, like just the real dark, gritty, and everything about Bloodborne, I just fell in love with it, from the exploration to the combat. When you play Dark Souls 1 Demon Souls or Dark Souls 2, the combat is clunky. It's very clunky. The movement is very clunky. When you play Bloodborne for the first time, it is fluid. Even at 30 frames, it is fluid. It is slick. It is different. It's new. But all the different areas in Bloodborne, all the different things, I loved them. I loved everything about that game. I know plenty of friends that have that platinum. I don't know. I've never really been a trophy chaser, so I've only beaten the game, beaten on New Game Plus once. I probably should. If it came to PC, I'd go probably play that game till my fingers bled, just because I'd be so happy it came and we get that next gen version it deserves. But yeah, just everything about it, from the horror movie aspect, from the gothic aspect of it, just how dark and the enemies and the weapons and the way they, every single weapon has its different forms. And it was just, it was just so different than the other Soulsborne. And, another homage would be Sekiro. Like, I love Sekiro. I'm anything involving samurai, ninjas, stuff like that. Like Ghost of Tsushima. Love that game. I would do anything to go to Japan. Like, I want to go to Japan so badly. Right now my wife and I are watching Shogun. We just started that. So
great show. Great show.
Oh, I've I remember being like, the thing that got me to fall in love with like that, and like and also just like things like the Chinese and the way that like the during like the Dynasty Warriors, stuff like that. Like, Dynasty Warriors was my jam back in the day. I love Dynasty Warriors. So I've watched so many movies. Like, I like the technical aspect and the strategic aspect of combat more than even the combat itself. I love the strategy involved with it. I like to see how people come up with things, the clever ruses they use, just all like seeing how their mind works. And I love when movies show that. So yeah, Shogun, we've only watched one episode and I'm fully hooked on that.
And it's fast, right? That's the difference between like Bloodborne and other Dark Souls, right?
It's very quick.
The combat's fast.
Fluid.
It wants you to be aggressive. It doesn't want you to just be rolling around and dodging all the time. If you get hit, it wants you to fight back so you gain your health back.
It wants you to use that visceral attack. It wants you to use that gun to get that, so you can get that visceral attack and get that big hit. Like it wants you to use it. You have to learn that. If you just play it like you do the other ones where you dodge, roll, dodge, roll, you're going to get smoked. And that's why, that first boss that really teaches you how to do it is, Father Gascon, especially when his first form you fight as the hunter, where he's really, really, really fast. And the second form you fight him as the werewolf, and he's really, really fast. And, but yeah, Bloodborne was just so good. It was just so freaking good. And then Sekiro was just so different. It was just so different, and had probably some of the coolest boss battles I've ever fought. Like, especially, like, I love watching people that have hundreds, thousands of hours in Sekiro. And when they do their boss battles, it literally looks like something straight out of like an anime or a movie. It's just all the effects and the timing, and it's like art. It's just so cool.
Today's Get Played podcast was for you. They covered just kind of talking about Souls-like games. So
that's awesome.
It'd be a good episode for you to listen to.
All right, I'll definitely take a look at it.
But hey, I made you hold off a little bit earlier because we wanted to talk about your future game. Your future game, Monster Hunter Wilds, as previously mentioned, on the docket right now. Capcom's been pretty good about holding to their dates. They said 2025, so I don't see any reason they can't get done by the end of next year. But this will be their first foray into the current
Open
generation
world
of consoles, the 5, the just the series, and just PC. So no 4, no 1, no.
Yeah, exactly.
So not handheld, obviously, with the Switch. But what are you looking forward to with this? I'm
just looking forward to the fact that it's going to be open world. I'm looking forward to seeing what monsters they bring back. If they bring back old favorites, what the new ones. I mean, it's just the thing that gets me hooked on Monster Hunter every time I play it is what am I going to fight next? And the living world. Like, I really hope they do a great job of like Monster Hunter World. When you sit there and you watch it, you could just sit back and watch, and you can watch an entire ecosystem play around you. Like, you see monsters attacking each other, you see monsters eating each other, you see big monsters fighting each other over turf. Like, it's just fascinating to watch. And the only other game I can really think that I've ever sat and did that was the Horizon series, Horizon Zero Dawn. I remember the first time when I saw the robotics, and they were just acting like creatures in the world, like deer and all the different things. And I just sat back and watched, and I was like, man, they're grazing over there. They're running around. The predators are attacking the prey. Like, this is really cool.
And in the distance too, for that, like it's not even like the stuff that's right around you. You could be looking.
Yeah, you're just watching everything. You just watch it. Like it's like you just stepped onto a savanna or on a safari, and you just sat there and you just watched nature take its course. And that's what I think it'll be a lot harder with it being a open world game, but I really hope they do a really good job of bringing all that together.
We'll have the full power of these systems ready to go, which is something there have not been much to Ray's chagrin. There have not been many games of this current generation that have left behind the prior generation. They keep building these games for the prior gen, and finally now, like, people who wanted to get the systems got the systems. So it's time to release the hounds.
It's time to jump a little bit. Like before we got our PS5, we had the PS4, and I got Cyberpunk for my PC, and my wife got Cyberpunk for the PS4, and that was a joke.
Did the PS4 catch fire? I'm sure it sounded like a jet. That sounded like a jet engine.
Oh my god, it was bad. We refunded it with quickness, but yeah, like even my PC was struggling. I was like, God bless this PS4. So I'm glad. I really do. I hate it for the older consoles, but at the same time, I think if there's so many retro stores. Like, one of my jobs is when I lived in New Jersey during my 20s, I actually worked at a mom and pop's video game store that had everything from the original Pong to that current gen system. And I loved walking into it and just seeing all the different games. And, you've got plenty of games there. Yeah, it sucks that you're not developing anymore, but there's so much of a catalog for the PS4 and the old Xbox and all that. They don't need more. You got plenty to play. Just, so they need to just sadly throw the bricks on those and just focus on what their current, the next gen. Well, and they need to bring a lot more to PC. A lot more. They need to take advantage of that.
It's coming. But the problem with that is, like, you've seen it with the PlayStation games, that like you're building for so many different potential specs and scopes and different hardware options. Like, it's not as easy as it sounds when you're,
of course not,
you're building these finely tuned games that are like optimized for, like, people may say, oh, my PC's better than PS5, but like the PS5, they can optimize those games for much like the Switch. Like, remember what's the Switch 2? I'm like, the Switch games still look good on the Switch. Relax, people. Yeah. We don't need it. We're good. But anyway, I digress. All right.
But no, I agree 100%. But no, just the open world, seeing how they do it. Like, you have all these elder dragons and you have all these elder dragon encounters in world. How are they going to do that in an open world aspect? And are two elder dragons just going to appear and meet each other in this epic climactic fight on each other, and you come into that fight? Or can you just sit back and watch like two friggin' gigantic dragons go at it?
Or do you lure them to each other? Because they're probably pretty territorial, so you're not gonna just wander into each other. But if you manage to lure them to one another, there we go.
Yeah. Plus, you got things like the Rajang, and you got the invading pickle, the devil ho. Like, they come in and they will just ruin your day because they will just try to kill you and kill everything in its path. They're just those invaders, or the Betelgeuse, they'll just come. The dive bomber that just bombs things. Like they'll just come out of nowhere and just ruin your day. You're in a hunt, have fun. So it's really going to be interesting to see how they, are they going to limit the amount of elder dragons? Are they going to limit the amount of monsters because they're trying to do this whole open world thing? Like, is it going to affect the amount of it's going to add because they have to do more variations because they can't put as many monsters. It's really going to be interesting. And plus having, obviously you're going to have some type of travel system on some type of beast. So that'll be interesting. And just hopefully they don't Ubisoft it where they just add too much nonsense on the screen and just stick to what they're good at. And so we'll see. I'm very optimistic, but at the same time, I'm a little scared with them doing open world for the first time.
Well, let's move on to a question from the Channel 3 history books. And I think the appropriate one for us to ask you here, since you brought up, your wife, your significant other, you talked about sometimes you've gamed with Monster Hunter, for instance. We're going to ask you, what was your first game with your significant other?
The very first game that she and I played was, let's see, that would have been the first one we played together, or like she played and together. I kind of watched her.
Yeah, either one, whatever works for you.
The one that probably sticks out the most that I can think of was her and I. So we both suck at fighting games, but we love playing them. And sometimes we will literally just play and be like, whoever loses has to go do the dishes. Whoever has to lose has to do this. And the very first one that she and I played together, it would have been Tekken 7.
Ooh, and how many debates or chores were settled over that?
Chores, debates, and other things we ain't gonna talk about on stream.
No comments. Yeah,
exactly. That's left where it is. But there were just times where we would just be like, all right, you know what? We're having fun. We're goofing off. Or we would just go get a fighting game. We would just randomly just look up fighting games. I've always really liked the Guilty Gear series and Blaze Blue. So I'd pick those up and we'd try them out. And, my wife is a masher queen. She is very, very good at mashing. But it's also really, really good practice to learn how to play defense. Because she doesn't ever play defense. She just constant offense at you. So, but yeah, Tekken 7. I always like to play as Eddie or King, and she was always Elisa. She loved Elisa because she loved the fact that the rage art hit low, which a lot of the time I would forget, or she would just spam the low and just take my knees out. So I had to get much better at low parrying or just get dominated.
And the last question we ask everybody, what's been your favorite feature on Channel 3?
Favorite feature? Events. Like there's just so many events for every type of game. Like that's one of my biggest selling points to everybody is, A is a social gaming networking site. I always say we're like the Twitter or the Facebook of gaming, but there's no politics. There's no BS. There's no toxicity because we stamp that out with quickness. But you'll always have people to play with. You'll always, there's always going to be a game somewhere, anywhere. And every person I brought to Channel 3 has fallen in love with it. So events, especially being able to create my own events and using that for certain things and being told by Joel that I pretty much have, if I want to make an event, I have free reign to do it, which is a really cool aspect. I can't thank Channel 3 and Joel enough. When the cards redeem ran out, which was my original thought of what I was going to do the tickets for, not the podcast, but for the card, I really wanted that business card. And I remember writing under, I want to say it was yours, El Ray, about, man, I really hope they come back in the thing. And Joel shoots me a private message. He's like, you've done so much for Channel 3. Shoot me an email. We'll collab on this. He's like, tell me what you want. And sure enough, man, like with quickness, he hooked me up. I'm proud to say I'm a Channel 3 and Dad Gaming. Not long after that, I remember receiving an email saying, "Hey, we just figured out how to do personalized jerseys. Here, tell me what you want on it." And I was like, "I mean, I'll go buy one." He goes, "No, like I want you to have one as like a thank you." And like it means a lot to be that I've meant that much to Channel 3 because it's meant so much to me. It's helped me so much in my content creation game and getting back to where I was before some things happened to my old account that I don't really want to get into. But, basically I had to start over. And it was unfair. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had friends and people that I had known from content creation telling me I need to stick with it, that you're really good at it, just, but having to restart from basically level 1 sucked. But Channel 3, meeting them and stuff like that skyrocketed everything. That also gave that hunger to want to improve again in Rocket League, and at the same time keep growing the platform, and also while growing my platform, helping grow Channel 3. And very proud to see where it has got, where it was when I came in season 3 to where it is now is just mind blowing. And that's a lot of hats off to you guys, and especially hats off to Joel, who's just an incredible person to me and my family.
And on that note, we've made it to the end of another What Are Your Three podcast. Thank you, Rue, for finally being on the show with us. You can find the podcast at c3.gg/podcast, dropping every Wednesday morning at 3:33 a.m. Eastern on all the major platforms, including Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Ray. Dan puts it all together. Our theme song by Caster Garden, and for our executive producer, Joel Willis. Have a good day, everybody.
I was very honored. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I'm glad we got this all going here.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time.
That's a good show. People are gonna enjoy this one. I can tell now. People are gonna really.
It goes deep.
Yeah, people care. People can tell when someone really cares about what they're talking about. So that hits people very quickly.
Oh, 100%. You learn very quickly that if people can relate to you and kind of go from there, that's what I love about streaming, is that all my different jobs throughout my life, the best part of it was getting to know people, working front desk at a hotel, working as a cashier, working as a bank teller, working in customer service. Like, the best part is getting to know people. So I said, you know what? Take that, and instead I'm a living caretaker for an elderly gentleman, and that gives me a lot of free time when, for the most part, he's pretty self-sufficient. We just have to, make sure we get him his meds, clean up around him, feed him, stuff like that. And it was just it just made sense to go after it again. And, just getting to chat with people from all over the world and getting to know people is just a lot of fun.
Never know the stories we're gonna hear on this thing.
No, we truly don't. Just an exploding arm was not on our notes for today.
Right. I play Rocket League. Why? Because I blew out my arm playing softball. Right? That's the connection. That's how everyone starts playing Rocket League, right?
Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, the wife needed something.
Good.
All right. So anyway.
Channel 3 is the future.